Good day, teachers. I am Andrea, Etienne, your presenter for this workshop, Early Literacy Fundamentals. These are the topics that we are going to try and cover up for this evening. 6 of the main broad areas that we're trying to understand about literacy. What really is early literacy, or for that matter, literacy? Over the years, theorists have redefined literacy in several ways. Each adaptation guides the way instruction is provided in the classroom. The older definition of literacy defines it as the ability to read and write. However, many people now fit into a newer definition which describes it as an integration of written and spoken process, which develops gradually from birth. Why then, one may ask, is literacy development important? The ability to read and write is the key to a child's success in school and throughout life. O'Grady et al. 2010 states that language acquisition only works if language is stimulated at the right time. He integrates literacy experiences, and he says that it is one way that an adult can determine how children construct meaning about reading and writing. According to Eric Lindbergh, 1969, children who are exposed to instruction and language at an early age can acquire normal language. Newman et al. 2000 claims 5 phases of literacy skills and further combines them to make 3. However, Joel 1991 of Tompkins identifies 3 stages through which children learn to become literate. The first being the emergent readers and writers. During this stage, Joel identifies this stage as a stage where children learn to read. During this stage, children understand that written language conveys messages. And in this slide here, we have this scribbling here. This is the first part where children understand that this is going to be understood by the adult or any of their peers. When asked what does that mean, they would actually tell you. And so it becomes the duty of the caregiver or the teacher to write exactly what the child is saying that happens in his picture. As time goes by, the child is able to use written language, words or letters that helps them identify what they are trying to say. Most of the time they use the capital letters or big letters, as these are much easier for them to shape, more with understanding that the curves in the letters are a little more difficult. The child is able to draw more pronounced graphics to help with the understanding or display of what is trying to be said. The wording, what should the teacher do? As we have displayed in our literacy corners, it is easy to understand that it's better for a child to read or follow from big books. These books help with a strategy called shared reading. The big books, you are able to allow the child to read the cover, understand the topics that are going to be discussed, and ask questions that will help the child flow with what is expected to get inside the book of the pages. Model reading so that children are able to understand what reading behavior is all about. So, talk about letters. Each letter has a name and a sound. So you identify the name and you give the sound so that the child is able to identify with what is being read. You establish literacy-rich environment so that all around your surroundings, the child is able to see the charts that are being displayed and the centers where they can identify and go to and use reading as a process of understanding. You reread favorite stories. By reading these stories over and over, the child is able to identify with the page that is coming, what is expected on that page, and is better able to follow as you read. And finally, You could always engage children in language games such as bingo games or speller bees using cut-out letters to form words that are already known or new ones. The second stage is where Joel identifies the beginning readers and writers, usually found in grade 2. Read and retell stories. The children at that point, are able to read and retell the story without using the book. By that time, they are familiarized with the content of the story. Read with reasonable fluency. Children are able to read with fluency and tonation. They are able to sound letters, single letters in the word to come up with a clear understanding of what the word is trying to say. At this age, they are also able to identify or sound out letter sounds, single letter sounds, or use consonant blends like STR to be able to sound out a letter. At this stage too, they are also able to read sight words, spell it out or sound it out. They are able to represent or sound out substantial sounds in a word to help understand what the word is about. What should a teacher do? Support vocabulary by reading daily. So you read for those children every day. Make it a habit where they could understand that reading becomes part of their learning. Model strategies by providing practice in identifying words. So you give different games, you allow different ways of being able to identify words, whether it be on your word wall or identifying it in the books that they are reading by pointing out to them. So as they go through, they are able to identify words and become familiarized with them. Give them opportunities of independence with reading practice. So you allow them to come to the class and maybe read something that they themselves have written, or or a book that you have identified that they are within their range of reading, that they are able to come and read for the class. By the end of this stage, children should be exposed to different text types. Therefore, it is important that you allow them to read, write, or discuss within activities the various types of reading or writing or books that they can become exposed to. Fluent readers. Joel identifies a stage where students are no longer learning to read, but they are reading to learn. At this final stage, Joel 1991 of Tomkin calls the fluent readers and writers. He explains that students read fluently and enjoys reading. The use of strategies make identification automatic and draws meaning from text. At this final stage, children read to learn and read according to specific genres like mystery, horror, comedy, science fiction, etc. Therefore, students need to be exposed to strategies that help them recognize and discuss elements of different text structures. So they connect to text. Their writings has developed and they can now write in paragraphs and follow the written process from revising to publishing. At the fluent readers and writers stage, children are able to now write a different genre of writing or reading, and it's called the expository writing. Most of this type of writing is through facts and not opinions. Here you have an example of a child who's writing, showing the sequence for brushing his teeth. What should a teacher do? John Skinner, a behaviorist, stresses that classrooms should be teacher-centered at this stage, where students learn through observation and reinforcement. An effective teacher allows the students to read and discuss a variety of diverse text types. as they write to show their understanding. Storytelling, drama, and or role-playing are just some practices a teacher can use to support the development of vocabulary. By using everyday objectives such as props, children become more relaxed and their story unfolds naturally. Using creativity, the audience are staying more focused as they enjoy the visual represented as well as the oral delivery. Not all children learn at the same pace, and therefore you need to adapt your teaching material to help accommodate children who are unable to read, unable to write, unable to see, or are visually impaired, or hear. And so you do that by identifying the child's learning style and make changes to accommodate before the lesson or during the lesson. If children have difficulties listening before the lesson, then you pre-teach difficult vocabulary concepts by stating your objectives and providing reasoning for listening. During the lesson, you use flashcards. You allow the children to take notes using markers. You ask questions frequently and allow short answers. If the child has difficulty reading written material, then it is your duty to finding written text at a lower level or allowing peers or adults to read aloud for the student. If the child has a difficulty writing legibly, then use graphic organizers in your classroom, true or false answers, or matching. If the child has a difficulty in spelling, then you have the child to use or make his or her own flashcards and teach words that create a pattern. You teach words that create a pattern, like bake, cake, take. Using effective strategies in your classroom is very important. There are many teaching strategies that support children's language and literacy, such as shared reading. It allows formative assessment as teachers can spot, stop, and ask questions about print concepts, letter recognition, and letter sounds. Also, you have the language experience approach. These generate ideas that help children understand cause and effect. One more strategy is interactive writing. These teachers use ideas about text to generate smaller lessons. For example, one more page, turn the next page, or even create habits, discussing habits or concepts or language found within the text that are being written. In summary, incorporating reading and writing in all aspects of literacy is very important. By doing so, the teacher discovers who enjoys reading. These children often choose reading as a free time activity. In order to determine your students' success, it is important that you assess what students are learning as they understand the differences between book language and conversation. Most importantly, students will understand that symbols represent meaning, stories come from print, as they become aware of structure in a story, and that it has beginning, a middle, and an end. Teachers, I want to thank you for your time. We have come to the end of today's presentation. I do hope that you are more informed on early literacy. Thank you.